I'm going to vote for president.
That's great. How about everyone else?
Don't know much about them. Probably will leave them blank or pick random people.
Don't do that. Vote the ticket. Down ballot.
Why? What does it matter?
Start a wave. Wash out 2020 and start with a fresh 2021.
Wash out 2020? Sounds good to me. I'll vote down ballot.
Yeah, use your power so I can use mine when I turn 18. Vote the ticket. Vote down ballot.
Go down the ballot, they won't stop. Vote the ticket unless we stop. Go down the ballot, play the top against the middle, against the bottom. Go down the ballot, the whole ticket. Vote the ticket, straight down the ballot. Go down the ballot, from the Appalachian Mountains to the valley out the Cali. Vote the ticket, go down the ballot, the whole ticket. Vote the ticket, vote the ticket. Go down the ballot, entire ticket. Vote.
Hey everybody, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notify button so you know when you're getting new episodes, and we just want to grow this project. I thank you in advance. Without further ado, let's get it rolling. The Shout Out Show.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. This is me, your host, Preacher Moss, the host of the S.O.S. Shout Out Show. Hope you're having a tremendous Wednesday, hump day, as we say, hump day back in the day, hump day during the day. This is the middle of the week, so we're halfway there. We're halfway away from where we started. We're halfway on the way to where we want to be. How about that? So, some quick shout outs. I want to give a shout out to my big brother Reggie. Keep him in your prayers, everybody. He's going through a tough transition, and we ask that keep him in your prayers and keep his family in your prayers. Top of the ticket here. I had to say top of the ticket. Top of the ticket is definitely election season. Top of the ticket is our people that are coming on the show for the first time. Thank you for coming on the show. If it's your first time, here's the way it works. Don't sit there silently. If you got something to say, put it in the comment section. And get your shout out, because when you come out here on the shout out show, doggone it, you're going to get your shout out. I guarantee. That's number one. Number two is do us a favor. We're trying to grow the show. So small ask, if you mind. Not money, anything like that. Click the subscribe button for us. Click the subscribe button. And if you like the show after it's over, click the like button. That's all we ask. Appreciate you. Now, for all my other folks, my shout out show regulars, my soldiers, I appreciate you coming on the show, because you know what? Everybody has places to be. Everybody has a destination. And sometimes we forget that other people have destinations. We think that their destination is where we want to be, as opposed to where we need to be. So I would also throw this out too. I had a really good topic yesterday, and it was a lead into this topic, because I find that where we are in life, we have to be thankful. We have to be grateful for whatever life brings forward. Okay, so I'm going to introduce stars in the building. That's the way we started off. And I want to get, again, I'm going to shout outs to all my folks that are my shout out show family, my shout out show soldiers that make a way for us from 5 to 5:30 or 6 to 6:30, wherever you are on the coast, in the Midwest, on the East Coast. It doesn't matter. And for all the people that have watched this show after it's already broadcast, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. I mean to say that, but I forget. So let me give my shout out to the stars in the building we got right now. Sister Ree. Sister Ree is in charge of craft services. She makes the food that's so nice you got to eat it twice. Yes, indeedy. Thank you, Sister Ree. Hope you're feeling well. Sister Sultana. Sister Sultana is a star in the making, brothers and sisters. She's a consultant producer, but she does so many other things, and doggone it, she does them well. So let's celebrate her while we got here. Thank you, Sister Sultana. And Sister Nama Griffin. What's going on, Sister Griffin? We appreciate you coming. Thank you for that hearty salams. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi barakatuh. You know what? I like that you write out the whole thing. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi barakatuh. In fact, when I give a greeting, I say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi barakatuh. Hey, we got Altaf Rashid all the way in for Toronto. I like the fact that he writes his whole greeting out. And this is how I came to want to say, I used to say salam alaikum. Listen, salam alaikum, I know it's assalamu alaikum, but I would say salam alaikum. That's what I heard. But I heard assalamu alaikum, and then I hung with some groups, and they just say salams. That was the first. I was like, what is salams? I thought it was assalamu alaikum. They just say salams. Okay, I'll leave that alone. Oh, another star in the building. What's going on, Sister Sultana? This is the other Sultana. Thank you. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi barakatuh. Thank you for coming on the show. So I'm going to give you all this brief rundown about salams, and then we'll get to our topic. I was traveling with a man. I don't know if you guys know. You might know him, you might not know him. Good friend of mine. May Allah be pleased with him. His name is Imam Qasim Ahmad. A long time pioneer in the WD Muhammad community, going all the way back to the first in the Nation of Islam. Good brother, loved him. And I'm sitting there at a khutbah one time, and he gets into, somebody had annoyed him because in his mind, somebody gave him like a half-hearted salam, like a very half-hearted one, like, should I give it to him? It's like, they didn't even give him the assalamu alaikum. He's not even the salam. It's almost like salah. He didn't even give him the rest, the AM salah. So he brought up how he was in the nation, and he said, once we came into the second resurrection, and we learned the whole thing, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. He said it is really incumbent upon the believer to want to give the largest greeting that you could to an individual, and expect that greeting back. I think the saying or the understanding is give a greeting that's equal, if not better. There you go. Greet with a better greeting. Okay. Thank you, Sister Don. You know where I'm going with this. And he said, it was funny. He said, I can't do it. All you Muslims out there think you Muslims. He said, stop cheating me on my salam. That's what he said. He said, stop cheating me on my greeting. He said, what I want when I give it to you, he said, I want everything. He said, I want everything. He said, when he say, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, he says, I want everything. He said, I want the peace. He said, I want the mercy, and I want the blessing. He said, you better give it to me. And from that time, brothers and sisters, I thought it was so fundamentally strong and sound and funny the way he broke it down that we do. I want the best for you. I want you to have the peace. I want you to have the mercy, and I want you to have the blessing. And I want it too. So give it to me. So I'm just putting this out there for people that like to write, an abbreviation. I don't get into abbreviations, but get your whole blessing. Get your whole blessing if that's possible. So even sometimes I'll be at Eid, and I'm here to tell y'all. Sometimes I'll be tired after Eid prayers because I've been going assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I mean, boy, I'll be tired of that day. People like, what did you do today? I said, man, I gave wish a lot of blessings on people. And then I go to sleep. Okay, that's the way it goes. So I just want to throw that out there. Yes, Sister Tana, alhamdulillah. May Allah be pleased with Imam Qasim Ahmad. That was my homie. I have a lot of scholars, but he's one of my homies. May Allah be pleased with him. I miss that guy. We had some good laughs. So let me get to our subject matter today. Because we've been talking about a lot of heavy topics. We've been talking about, the election. We've been talking about coronavirus, conspiracies, Trump, things like that. And there is a tendency, brothers and sisters, there's a tendency. My mentor, my big brother told me this. He said, the there's a tendency when you lose balance talking about certain things. He said, when you put something in the middle of the table, when you look at it as a man or a woman or a human being or an adult, even a child, he said you really have two options when you look at it. And you have two options, especially with a challenge. One, you can get bitter, or two, you can get better. Let me say it again. You can get bitter or you can get better. I was like, you know what? That's fundamental, almost like Imam Qasim was talking about. You can get better, you can get better. Yeah, and I love the corollary that's happening here, because our topic today is lift those spirits, because we got to lift them, lift those spirits, and do what? Look at some of your favorite surahs. Look at some of your favorite hadiths. And I put in Bible quotes, because everybody ain't Muslim. And here's another thing. Everybody ain't always been Muslim. There's some things that got you through to you took your shahada. Real talk, right? So I feel like, hey, I need to be real too. There's some things in the Bible that I still lean on as facts, as truth, as inspirational thought. I think it's amazing. Like a lot of you guys know, one of my favorite, one of my favorite chapters in the whole Bible is the book of Ruth. The book of Ruth. And it's a story about faith. My Aunt Ruth, her name was Ruth. But, I always want to know, why they named you Ruth? My grandmother was a religious lady. Named her Ruth. And the story of Ruth is an amazing story of faith. Of faith. Of taking chances of sacrifice. Now, I'll paraphrase it, but it was literally a woman who she'd gone out in lands and her husband dies, and she has several sons, and that doesn't work out. The sons die, and she's left with the widows of her son, and they're in a different land, if you will. So she wants to go back to her homeland. The one girl, she discourages the girl. She says, "No, go to where you are, because you're not native of this land. You'll be subject to a bunch of rules, subject to a bunch of laws. You'll be harassed or worse." So the one daughter says, "I'm not going to leave your side." The other one goes, but the one daughter, Ruth, tells her, "I'm not going to leave your side. I'm not going to leave you." And they go back to her hometown and they suffer. They have no husbands, because I don't know how bad it is for women back then, but I'm thinking it's probably 10 times as bad. They had no provider. And this woman would go out and she would work in the fields, essentially. And she caught the eye of the guy who owned the field, and they married. But they had a rule back then. They had a rule that you could marry the in-law. You had to marry the in-law of somebody. And then they found out, long story short, this whole thing worked out. And it was all about faith, a blind faith that in their minds, despite everything, God is going to work it out. Great story. So listen, what are some of those surahs that you like? Read. What are some of them Bible quotes that you like? One of my favorite surahs I ever remember. It wasn't a surah. It's one of my favorite hadiths. This is when you first somebody gives you a Quran and hadith, and you don't know what you're reading because you're not Muslim, but you know you're going to read it because it's just amazing stuff. Oh, the clouds come through. The sun broke through here. Don't worry about it. My favorite one, if you will, is leave the things that make you doubt for the things that don't make you doubt. Leave the things that make you doubt for the things that don't make you doubt. Okay, Sister Satana said, should not be a chapter in the Bible. Okay, all right. Share with me, Sister Satana. Share with me. It's in there, but there's dispute about it. I just gave some of the remnants of the story. But enlighten out. This is a shout out show, so please enlighten us. But that hadith is was there no deity? I have to go back and check. I'll go back and check, Sister Sultan. But it was a good story. Sister Sultana, since I got your line, give me a hadith that you really like. Give me a surah that you really like. I'm a big fan of course. I'm a big. Okay, here we got one from Ree. My God shall supply all my need according to His riches and glory. But yeah, I like that one. I'm partial to that one. I love the Beatitudes. You know, just the framework and the concept of the Beatitudes and the Ten Commandments. I enjoy the framework of the Ten Commandments, and that has to do a lot with understanding Abrahamic faith, if you will, engaging Abrahamic faith. I thought it was interesting. You know, like I said, I told you one of my favorite hadiths, leave the things that make you doubt for the things that don't make you doubt. That was actually one of the precursory hadiths I read before I actually took my shahada. I'm a big fan of Surah Asr. I'm a big fan of Surah Asr, and I'm going to tell you why. What's up, Satana? Let's see. The morning hours, through doubt and challenges, know that Allah has not abandoned you. This is amazing. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I used to use that one for tahajjud because I really enjoy that one. What you got for me, Sister Griffin? When I heard the story of Samson and how his hair was the source of his strength, I thought very differently about cutting my locks. Well, you know, that was the story of Samson is really nuanced. There's a lot of levels to it in terms of, you know, how we see ourselves, like how we see ourselves, our attachment to beauty, if you will. You know, because it's a cautionary tale that we can look at the beauty of ourselves and think that that's the beauty of the world. So I like that one. I'm a big one. I'm always a big fan of the story of Zamzam. I'm a huge fan of that. I have a big affinity for the story of Moses. And I mean, you can read Moses in the Bible, you can read about Moses in the Quran, but really, man, that I think in some regards, I feel like that's a framework for how you build your own faith. Sister Satana, what you got for me? Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? You know, my big brother, Reginald Kitchen, loves that quote. And we say it all the time. We say that, and then we have this thing about being grateful. And we say it's good to be. We don't say what is good to be. It's just good to be. As old folks say, it's good to be on the side of the dirt. We didn't even say that. We said it's just good to be. And then you can fill in whatever you want to after that. Be humble, be blessed, be with your children. But we used to say it's just good to be as a prefix. Let me see here. Woman had the issue of blood. Okay, maybe I'm missing that one. Give us a few details. You know, give us a few details. You know, I like the story of Moses with Pharaoh. I love the story of Moses with Pharaoh and with his brother Aaron. And they talked about how Moses basically had potentially, it's implied. Hold on a minute, everybody. Sorry about that. It has been cloudy all day, and now so. You know, you can't beat the sun. You can't beat the sun. One of my favorite stories when I was growing up was Job. The story of Job. And the story of Job, the story of Jonah, the whale, the test, Yaqub. But there were so many levels to Yaqub. And as a performer, it's always interesting because you're tested in a particular way. You test yourself, you put yourself out in front of an audience, and then the audience tests you. The idea of in the whale always represented, as I got older, the idea of how you work acts of good, how you work acts of piety, when they aren't around you, there are acts that are counterproductive. They're not happening the same way. It's almost like how do you stay cool when everything around you is hot? How do you stay dry when everything around you is wet? And I that's why I think about Jonah and the whale. Let me get back here. We got some good ones here. Sir, another narrative of changes and how Allah granted many messages and blessings. Yes, alrighty. What we got here? That's right, Sister Tana. Moses is the only prophet mentioned more than any other prophets in the Quran. And, he's a linchpin. Moses is a linchpin because he has a lot of levels of living. First, how he's saved, if you will. Moses is saved by his mother, sent down the Nile in a wicker basket, and Pharaoh's mother takes him and raises him. Then he has this awakening. He kills a man. He leaves. Then he finds refuge. Then he finds patience to stay and take a wife. And it was just so many levels of Moses, man. A whole lot of levels of Moses. So let me throw this on. And this is my brother, Johnny Thomas. Johnny, yeah, Job is a great story, man. You talk about going through some trials and tribulations and just holding on and believing, man. And I thought as a kid when I heard the story of Job, it was almost like when you're a kid, you have kid-like thoughts. You have kid-like creative intuition. And I thought like the story of Job was like a TV show that God was watching. And he put people in roles to see how well they acted. And that was the way I thought about it as a kid. I was like, it's like TV. Even now sometimes, as I go through life, we say God is watching. I'm like, God's watching on the biggest flat screen TV in the world. And that big flat screen TV is our own hearts. It's our own consciousness, our own minds. So it's like he's not watching us, we're watching ourselves, which is a deep thought. Sister Naima, what you got? My roots are Cuban, Santeria, okay. And it's through a polytheistic religion practice. I love the way they teach of respecting your elders and ancestors. Yeah. What are some of the quotes about our elders and our ancestors? We kind of touched on it yesterday on the discussion about thanking mothers. This, of course, there's hadith, heaven lies at your mother's feet. I get that. And I totally get it to the point where it's not debatable. So I'm not being dismissive. I get that, man. But I'm like, what are some of the quotes we need to be putting out here now? When you watch a whole political season go by and you see no religious references, you tell you where the world is. Like nobody put a billboard up that just said, God knows you can do better. It's not even saying what God knows. God knows you can do better. Why? Because you know you could do better. And it's pretty interesting that we haven't gotten there. And I talked about this the show before that show when I talked about Sharia, how we have separated religion and state, but we've made the state a designer and enforcer of things that should be personal will. If beef lunch, she didn't know her child would survive. Yeah, that's a great one. Sister hair is symbolic of strength and wisdom. Yeah. If you look at it that way. But look. Do you ever? I'm gonna mess with you, Sister Tana. What is the deal that people don't like their hair? Like I see people, they flip it up, there's wigs and things like that. I remember when we had a natural. I didn't have a natural. I couldn't grow a bush. Let's just throw that out. It was like this big. Like I couldn't really grow a bush. And then my grandmother used to cut it off when it got high because I was a practice head. She used to cut my grandfather's head. I was the practice head before she got to granddad. So my stuff would be jacked up, but granddaddy's had to be sharp. You know what I'm saying? What we got here? I will never forget when speaking to an elder, never sit or stand taller than. Woo! I like that one, sister. I like that one. Yes. Remember this one right here? You walk in the house? Yes. When you walked in the house, you took that hat off. Like, that's real talk. Never sit or stand taller than them. And here's one. You don't take a seat unless they tell you to take a seat. Remember that one? You had to ask for permission before you took a seat. May I have a seat? Because I remember as a child, I think I stood from the first grade to the second grade one time because all the elders had seats and wasn't nobody getting up off their seat. And why you up? Here's the other one. And why you up? Go get me something to drink. And get Miss So-and-so something to drink. That's real talk. Okay. Hagar gave us Hajj, Zamzam water, running people in Safwa, and Marvel. Yeah, exactly. I'm saying, I mean, because it's I'm glad you brought that up. Because we were talking about, what were we talking about? You know, how we value motherhood yesterday. We were talking about that. You know, Hagar gives us Hajj and Zamzam water, which is a part of the ritual. And we're not even talking about that. Okay, let me see here. Hair was probably autocorrect from Hajj. Okay, no problem. No problem. Thank you, Satana. I appreciate it. Here's another one I'm going to touch on. I'm going to age myself. What are some of the good hadiths, surahs, and Bible quotes about feeding people, about feeding other folks, about nourishing other folks? You know, every Friday, inshallah, I try to read a Surahs. And you all know the story of how Moses comes to go on this trip. It was a trip about knowledge. Moses had told people in the space, and they asked him who's the most knowledgeable person. He said me, and Allah kind of gave him that slap. So he goes on this thing, and of course, you know the story. You know, it's funny that he goes on this long journey, and the thing that brings him or snaps him is that he's very tired, and the food that his servant had laid down, he said, you know, something Shaitan took it away or something like that. It wasn't there. And Moses goes, that's the thing. And he said, that's the thing. That's what I've been looking for. And it takes him to this personal knowledge. Isn't it interesting how food, the provision of food, the distribution of food, the charitable act of giving food, the charitable act of feeding people, and it's almost a religious norm in the Quran and the Bible about how important food is, how much activity. You know, Jesus fed the multitude, right? Jesus fed the multitude. The story of Jonah. You know, I think that. I mean, even Moses. You know, the idea of famine. You know, famine is a big issue in the Quran. And it gives you the idea of bounty, but it gives you the idea of there absolutely being another extreme. And I think sometimes when you live life long enough, you learn the extremes. You learn to see what the extremes are. Let me throw this up from Sister Prophet Muhammad said, the best of you are those who feed others. Yeah, my brother's on here. JT, tell the truth, man. What's our biggest argument? We go out to eat. You know the biggest argument? Who pays the check? Like literally, we like two ridiculous grown men trying to figure out how to pay the check. You know what? Because we're trying to get that blessing. we trying to get the blessing. Now I've been with some people like, yeah, I'm gonna pay the check. They're like, good, thank you, man. They ain't trying to get no blessing. They're like, I'm glad you did pay that. In fact, let me get another piece of cake. You buying, right? Yeah, that whole idea of food is. You know what I really tied into the whole idea of food. It was watching Roots and the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman and a movie called Sounder. You know, a movie called Sounder. Here's Jay. I said, what's our big argument? He put it right there. Who pays the bill? Yeah, that's right. You can tell your brother is Muslim because we do argue about that bill. But it's a love argument about this. It's not, you know, blah, blah, blah. We nobody keeps score. That's the best of your brothers. It's like everybody, are you fed? No, are you fed? That's that thing. So alhamdulillah for that. There was a movie called Sounder with Paul Winfield. Anybody remember? Anybody in the comment section, do you remember the movie Sounder? Now, the movie Sounder was really about a dog. The travails of a dog. The dog lives with his black family that's going through hard times. What did Paul Winfield go to the prison work camp for? Because he was trying to feed his family. He was trying to feed his family. And for that, they incarcerated him. And he did hardships. And his dog Sounder was his best friend. But I think we get lost sometimes. We forgot why they sent him to prison. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And the Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. All right, brothers and sisters, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm going to be honest with you. When I was a younger comedian, hear me now, when I was a younger comedian, I used to be able to do an imitation of Jane Pittman. I did. I should have watched the show before I did it, but it was Cicely Tyson. You told me that you want me to drink out that water fountain. I ain't gonna drink out that water fountain. I done raised white children. I done raised black children. Everybody done come to get some water, and Miss Jane Pittman gonna get some water. That was Miss Jane Pittman. All right, Sister Naima, I love that. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Couldn't read when the angel Gabriel came to him. It shows honesty and truth. How many times you been with people? Yes, Sis Naima. Yes. How many times have you been with people who just won't tell the truth? They won't tell the truth. It's like a bad episode or watching a bad episode of Amos and Andy. You know Kingfish ain't going to tell you the truth, but we watch anyway. Why? Because we like the train wreck. I'm just being honest with you. Why do people just not say the truth? Do not say the truth. I know a man darn near killed himself. Darn near killed himself. Or got himself killed. And I'm going to be honest. I would have been charged with first-degree murder or attempted murder. But not with a gun. In fact, I'm celebrating my big brother, Reginald Kitchen. He can tell you this story. There was a guy in the office. His name was Greg Davidson. Now, I'm fresh out of college. I played tennis, a little bit in college and everything. So I'm sitting here with Brother Kitchen. We're talking about tennis because it was like, I think it was like Wimbledon or something like that. We were watching it. Okay, now keep in mind, I'm way younger and way thinner. This is like 1991 or 1991. Yeah, 91. So I said, well, I'm going to go hit some balls. And the guy goes, oh, I played. Greg, I played. And Reggie goes, when did you start playing? He goes, I played. He said, when you start playing? When you came to this conversation? And it got into this whole thing that my buddy Greg had played here and da-da-da. People, he ain't played nowhere. He had no business anywhere near a tennis court or any tennis equipment. And he talked bad about me. Now, when people talk bad about you, when they older, but they not old enough to get away with it, you know how this thing went down. I'm 21 years old, 22. You talking trash to me? What you, 33? I ain't got to give you any respect of being an elder. You not 43 or 53. So, ladies and gentlemen, long story short, I took the brother out on the tennis court. Knew he couldn't play, but he couldn't say I couldn't play. He would not admit it. So in that space, I was not Muslim, but I would say that God, Allah, inspired me to try to kill this man on the tennis court. And I tried to run him to the point where he stepped on his tongue. That was the level of submission I wanted for him for not telling the truth. And I almost got it. The only thing that stopped was Reginald Kitchen stepped in and said, Greg, stop lying for this boy. Kill you. So that's the only reason I stopped. So look, everybody. Wow, I can't believe the time went that quickly. This was a good topic. I hope in the future, brothers and sisters, that I'll bring you guys some lighter stuff. And I do plan to bring you guys some lighter stuff. I'm hoping that our Friday funnies will be good. That's going to be the last Friday funny before the election, brothers and sisters. We got Throwback Thursday tomorrow, so we need to get it in. A Saturday spotlight will be Sister Khadijah Muhammad from the COVID Relief Coalition. She's going to be on. We're going to have a great weekend. We're going to have a great week. We're going to have a great Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Why? Because you guys come on the show. That's number one. Number two, because it's the shout out show. With or without me, it's the shout out show. So listen, I want to tell all of you guys, and if Greg Davidson is watching this and word gets back to you, brother Greg, I know I'm supposed to say I'm sorry, but I'm not. I try to kill you. Before I guess, I'm sorry, people. I said brother Khadijah Muhammad is Sister Khadijah Abdullah, a very astute woman. Going to talk to us about COVID-19 coalition, things we should be looking for. If you guys remember yesterday, we looked at a graph that talked about the distribution of COVID and who was the highest? African Americans, Latinos. We need to get on this thing because we're not getting good information, but this is going to give us something. All right. So I got to bounce. I appreciate you guys. Sister Naima, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. A lot of folks don't get to talk to their folks. This is the best thing about the show. Just, we have a relationship show. Alhamdulillah. So let me get the last one out. Thank you, Sister Naima. I'm going to try and have an amazing night. And Luke talks about, one, that he is a prophet. Two, he said he ain't killed him. It was somewhere else. You ain't right, sisters, all the time. But that's a good one now. Listen, everybody, please, until tomorrow, please have an amazing day. And I hope to see you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Stay blessed. Preacher Moses.
Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your shout out show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next shout out show. A simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarif Altar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifatar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.